Really, it has been a while since I've had an idea for a video, and if you have been on any of my pages on Facebook, uh, I've been posting videos that I made ahead of time, and I have a couple of new pages that are up that I've been posting videos that I've done like a few years, behind. So I haven't had an idea for a new video. It's been a while since a lot has been going on, but as I was driving this morning, I got an idea, and really it's about the manipulation of spending time with God. Now, I had made a video more than a year ago talking about this very thing, and if you have read my book, Who is Your Provider, you know that I come against any kind of manipulation, from, you know, church leaders and such who try to control the people in their congregation. They can try to control their spiritual life, and they can do so with manipulation. Whether it's manipulation into tithing, manipulation into controlling someone's spiritual life, making sure that they're spending time with God and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that spending time with God is a bad thing. Not at all. If you read my book, you know that very thing, and you know how much I love God. But God does not do manipulation. He does not manipulate in order to get something. And that's not how he operates, because God doesn't have any needs. So while I was driving this morning, I dropped my wife off, to the salon she works at. And on my way back, I was just thinking about, how my mom, sometimes she feels convicted that she doesn't, you know, always get to spend time with God. And there's a lot of people like that. I mean, there's a lot of people that get wrapped up in, their jobs and going to work in the morning, and by the time they get out, which I can empathize, because I recall working so many jobs in which, the time I got out, I was so tired that all I wanted to do was just wind down and, sit in front of the TV and watch a movie or something. So trying to fit God is hard. And then you get some people that say, well, you got to be in your prayer closet instead of the car, I don't agree with that. I believe it's about connecting with God, in the heart. And I believe I was looking up, in the book of John when Jesus was talking about abiding, remaining in God. If you no tree can bear fruit unless it, remains in the vine. And because, it's got to receive its nutrients and stuff in order for each member to grow. And so it's about, remaining within Jesus. People can get wrapped up in the things of this world, but I believe that I think, sorry, I wanted to look it up in the concordance, and in, like, I believe it's in the New American Standard Bible, it's the word is remain. In the King James, it says abide. So looking up the Greek in that, it says to remain in a given state and expectancy and in relation. So when somebody can read that part that says stay, they're going to be like, how am I going to do that? When I got to go to work, I can't be in my prayer closet. And so does Jesus expect us, to always be in our prayer closet in order to, to abide with him. Well, how is that even possible? Well, J- Jesus is not worshipped in one place only. It says in the Psalms that not even the highest heaven can contain God. God is everywhere. You know, He's in your prayer closet. He's in your car while you're driving. So, how are we going to abide in our prayer closet when we got things in places that we got to go and things we got to do? Well, I believe abide is keeping that connection with God that you have. While you're driving, you're communicating with Him, you're talking with Him, you're praying for people. It's not even in your prayer closet. I recall, you know, one of the many manipulations that I've received by church leaders. You know, like this one lady, I had to do community service hours because I was staying with my mom at her apartment, and that's what they required where she was living under. And so I asked them to do those hours with this Christian lady. And she said before I did so, I had to go in her prayer closet, well, into her prayer area in her place, to spend time with God. And I'm like, why can't I do that at home? Why do I got to do that at your place? Well, it was control. She wanted to make sure that I was spending time with God. And I guess she had to physically see that. So you get people like that in there that want to control you. And, I have always butted heads with the religious. I have not had, good standing with them. And I don't like religious rules. I do not like them whatsoever. I don't like anybody trying to control me. You know, only God, takes control of me, no, not man. So, abiding is keeping that close connection with God. I have in my car while I'm driving, God said to me, hear me while you're driving. So I wrote that on a sticky note. And I keep that with me so that while I am driving, I can keep that connection with God. And He'll reveal certain things to me about people or whatever. Or maybe when I'm driving, I could see somebody walking and maybe He'll talk to me about them. Or whatever it is. Or maybe it's something in my family that He needs me to be aware of, something that I need to do, something I need to say, and or just thanking Him for everything that He's done, and so you don't have to be in your special, prayer closet, just to keep that connection with God. It's in religious people do not like, hearing that because they want control. So don't let anybody try to control you. And I'm not saying at all that it's not important to spend time with God. It is very important because there's things that He needs to reveal to us that we need to know. Maybe it's something that we need to ask Him for forgiveness for. So, you want to keep that connection open with God. Don't feel manipulated that you have to be in your prayer closet and that you can't always be in there, because things will happen in which you can't. But you can always abide in Christ in your connection with Him. So it's just whatever you're doing, even if you're working throughout the day, you can keep that connection with God. And you know what? What's amazing to me is when I worked at an insurance company before my rest started, it was like I felt something on my back. The top part, it was like I felt like something was touching me. And it was there for some time. And it seemed like every day that I was at work, I felt that. And it was God's hand. He put His hand on my back to let me know that He was with me because He knew the stress that I was dealing with there, because there are things that I do not understand. And in the past, when I couldn't understand something, I would get stressed off about it And it would get to the point to where it would affect me physically, that I would start getting sick. And I recall working at a paint line company. I worked at to where you put stuff in shipping containers, and I could not understand how to do everything. And so the things were timed. You had to get so many things off the line and put in the right place before you would hear the alarm, and then the conveyor belt would move again. So that was stressful. And I recall when I would go to bed at night, I would wake up early in the morning, like at 2, and I would be thinking about the job. And so by the time I got to work, I was just beat. And God gave me the strength gracefully, to be able to make it. And then after it was done, I would go home, I would shower, and then that would be it for the rest of the night. I would eat something, and then I would go to bed. Or I would fall asleep watching a movie or whatever it would be. My whole day was blown. So I know what it was like to feel physically worn. I know what it was like to be stressed and get sick from that. So I ended up getting terminated from the job because, I could not learn it. And so I remember God's hand being on my back while I was working. I didn't understand it at first, but then I understood that he was there, comforting me, letting me know that, everything was all right. So it's keeping that close connection, even if you're at your job, you can talk with God while no matter what you're doing, keeping that connection with him. And God is not a manipulator. He doesn't get all angry at you when you don't spend time with him. But I want to encourage you with this message that you can keep that connection open with God. You don't have to be in your special prayer closet. Now, I'm not saying that if you have a prayer closet, don't go to it. No, you can go to your prayer closet. I am just stating that, don't allow anybody to try to manipulate you into spending time with God. And when you don't get to do so, that you feel all bad about it. Don't let anyone do that to you. Don't let anyone try to manipulate you, because that is not who God is. That's not God's character. He does not use manipulation. Manipulation is like a form of witchcraft, and you know that God is not into that. Such as rebellion is witchcraft. So, yeah, I just wanted to encourage you with that, and let you know that God loves you, that he's by your side. And no matter what you're doing, if you're driving, if you're walking, if you're at work, just talk to him. That's the way of abiding, to stay. That's the only thing that would make sense, is to stay in that place with God, and if you have not been able to spend time with him, just talk to him where you're at, you know, and you can keep that connection. There's a spiritual connection there when you're talking to him. So I pray that this message has blessed you and it's encouraged you, and stay tuned. He may give me more ideas for messages. So thanks for watching.